This is a standard networking cable. Inside this outer jacket are 8 copper conductors, arranged in 4 twisted pairs. Those pairs carry electrical signals that represent network data. They can also carry electrical power. That simple idea is called Power over Ethernet, or PoE for short. Instead of plugging a device into the wall for power and connecting it to a switch for data, one cable does both jobs. In this video, we will break down why PoE exists, how it sends electricity without damaging your equipment, and when you should use it. To understand why Power over Ethernet even exists in the first place, you have to go back to the late 1990s. During this period, offices were beginning to adopt 2 important technologies: internet-based phones and digital network cameras. Internet-based phones used a technology known as Voice over IP, or VoIP. A traditional corded phone received power through the telephone line itself, which meant it could often keep working during a local power outage. Early IP phones, however, often needed a separate wall adapter plugged into an electrical outlet. Desks quickly became crowded with power bricks and cables. Network cameras created an even greater installation challenge. Facilities teams wanted to mount cameras high on warehouse rafters, outdoor poles, or concrete ceilings. Those locations rarely had electrical outlets nearby, and running electrical services to dozens of difficult mounting locations could become one of the most expensive parts of the project. Engineers looked at the Category 5 Ethernet cables that were already running through the office walls and noticed an opportunity. At the time, common 10 and 100 megabit Ethernet connections used only 2 of the cable's 4 twisted pairs for data. That gave engineers an obvious place to carry power: the 2 unused pairs. The eventual IEEE standard went further than that, by allowing power to travel either over those spare pairs or over the same pairs carrying data. Before an industry standard existed, companies such as Cisco developed proprietary systems, commonly called inline power. These systems allowed compatible phones and other devices to receive data and electrical power through a single network cable. In 2003, the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, or IEEE, approved 802.3AF, the first industry standard for Power over Ethernet. It established a common method for compatible switches to detect power devices and deliver electricity safely. This marked the beginning of standardized PoE. The original 802.3AF standard allowed a switch port to supply up to 15.4 watts. PoE Plus raised that limit to 30 watts in 2009. Then, in 2018, the 802.3BT standard introduced Type 3 and Type 4 PoE, allowing compatible switches and injectors to provide up to 60 or 90 watts. These higher power levels allow modern PoE to support advanced cameras, digital displays, lighting systems, and high-performance wireless access points. Now, sending roughly 50 volts through a network cable might sound risky. Applying power without first checking the connected equipment could damage a device that was not designed to receive it. So how does a switch send enough power to run an outdoor camera without damaging non-PoE equipment? It begins with a safe, automatic electrical handshake between the equipment supplying the power and the device receiving it. This process confirms that the connected equipment supports PoE and helps the switch reserve enough power for it. You can think of standards-based PoE operation in 4 different parts: detection, optional classification, startup, and continued monitoring. First comes detection. The switch applies a small test voltage and checks for a specific electrical signature. A standards-compliant PoE device presents that signature. A normal network interface does not, so the switch leaves full power turned off. Next, the switch may classify the device into a defined power class. That class tells the switch the maximum amount of power it should reserve. Some switches and devices can refine that request later through a protocol such as LLDP. Once those checks are complete, the switch applies its normal operating voltage and limits the initial rush of current while the device starts. After startup, the switch continues checking that the device remains connected and operating within safe electrical limits. If the cable is unplugged or the port detects an electrical fault, the switch removes power from that connection. Beyond managing each port, the switch also has a total PoE power budget. A 48-port switch may have enough physical ports for 48 devices, but not enough electrical capacity to run every port at its maximum output. Before a large installation, you need to compare the combined power requirements of the connected devices with the switch's available PoE budget. You might now wonder how modern gigabit networks send power and high-speed data across the same copper pairs at the same time. On 10 and 100 megabit connections, PoE can use pairs that are not carrying data. It can also place power on data-carrying pairs, which becomes essential with Gigabit Ethernet because Gigabit uses all 4 pairs. This is sometimes compared with phantom power in professional audio, where one cable carries both an audio signal and electricity. Ethernet uses a related principle. Network data is represented by differences in voltage between the 2 wires in each pair, while PoE applies the same DC voltage to both wires. The power and data uses the pair in different electrical ways, allowing the equipment to separate them at each end. The result is that the same copper pair can carry power and data at the same time without the 2 interfering with each other. This design provides several practical advantages. PoE gives installers more freedom when choosing device location. If you need a security camera in the top corner of a concrete parking garage, you do not have to place it near an existing electrical outlet. Ethernet cable is generally easier to route through walls and ceilings than a new AC circuit, although every installation must still follow applicable building and fire codes. You can place the device where it does the best job, rather than where power happens to be available. PoE can also reduce installation costs. Instead of installing a separate AC outlet for every camera, phone, or access point, the installer runs one network cable to each location. Now, across a large building, avoiding dozens of separate electrical circuits can reduce labor and material costs substantially. PoE also makes backup power easier to centralize. During a building outage, devices without backup power shut down. If a PoE switch is connected to an uninterrupted power supply, or UPS, the devices it powers can remain online. Cameras may continue recording. Access control equipment can follow its backup design, and IP phones can remain available. The router, firewall, recording system, and other essential equipment may also need backup power for the full service to continue operating. Managed PoE switches also provide port-level power control. If a camera, access point, or digital sign stops responding, an administrator can often restart it remotely by briefly turning power off and back on at the switch port. This can save someone from having to climb a ladder or travel to a different building just to unplug a device. Before using PoE, check that the switch and connected device supports compatible standards. You should also confirm how much power the device requires and whether the switch has enough room left in its total PoE budget. Cable quality and distance matter as well. Standard Ethernet channels are generally limited to 100 meters or 328 feet, including the installed cable and patch cords. Poor quality cables can create more resistance, heat, and power loss. You should also know the difference between standards-based PoE and passive PoE. An IEEE compliant PoE source checks for a compatible device before applying normal operating power. Passive PoE may place voltage on the cable without performing the same detection process, so the two should not be treated as automatically interchangeable. Finally, you do not always need a PoE switch. A PoE injector can add power to a single Ethernet connection, which may be a practical option when only 1 or 2 device needs it. Power over Ethernet began as a solution to a simple problem. Network devices needed both data and electricity, often in places where an outlet was difficult or expensive to install. Today, PoE powers phones, cameras, access points, sensors, and many other connected devices through one managed cable. When the switch, cable, and power device are properly matched, PoE can simplify installation, centralize backup power, and make connected equipment easier to manage. Thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.